Hello, everyone. So, this is going to be another episode of Motivational Monday Live with your host, Aura Elena Martinez. And this week's episode is entitled, Don't Let Your Hunger Trick You into Traps. Now, before I get started with this week's topic, I would like to introduce myself so you can get to know me a little more. If this is your first time watching this series. And I also want to share with you what inspired me to even start this series to begin with. So once again, my name is Orlando Martinez, and I'm a self-discovery and empowerment coach, helping women gain total clarity in their purpose so that they can wake up to daily fulfillment and certainty. Now, purpose is not to be limited to just a calling. This is because you could be living your calling and still not be living your most purposeful life. And this is because part of you living your most purposeful life is also enjoying greater levels of mental well-being. Thank you for the emotional well-being, spiritual well-being, physical well-being, and why not? Financial well-being. That's right. And this is because every part of you and your life matters. It is all connected. It is all connected. And what inspired me to start Motivational Monday Live is that Mondays tend to be that day of the week that we're like, oh my God, another day of the week. And now I got to go to work. And let me just tell you this. Mondays were not designed. No day of the week was designed for us to feel that way. And if you find yourself dreading Monday, right? Feeling frustrated with how things are in life, that is a big indicator. Let that be an indicator that something needs to be transformed in your life. Because once again, you're not meant to be living frustrated, dreading the days, dreading work. That is not how you're designed to live life. So let that be your sign that it is time to change, that it is time to change. And once again, this week's episode is entitled, Don't Let Your Hunger Trick You into Traps. And if you're wondering, okay, what does this have to do with self-discovery and empowerment and clarity and you living your most purposeful life and experiencing greater levels of well-being? Thank you for the likes. This has everything to do with you living your most purposeful life and enjoying greater levels of well-being and you empowering yourself and you discovering yourself in deeper levels. And this is because when we don't see ourselves clearly, everything is going to seem cloudy in life. Everything. Because we will not be able to distinguish between the difference between what is a layer and what is coming from our true essence. And the true essence meaning our soul. And if you're new to my work and to all the things that I'm doing, when I say layers, I'm referring to any limiting beliefs that you may have, any story that may limit you that you are holding on to, any mental programming, any social conditioning or societal conditioning, any cultural conditioning, and even any hunger that you may have. And this is precisely the layer that I'm going to be talking about today in this week's Motivational Monday Live, because this is one layer that when we don't have the level of awareness to even notice that this is coming up, this layer is going to truly run the show. And this is not a pretty layer when it is running the show, right? Because we're not going to be able to distinguish what is what. And the reason why you don't want this layer running the show is because it can create havoc in your life, okay? It can strengthen any limiting belief that you may already have. It also makes it more challenging for you to break any pattern, any cycle, any habit that you may be having that you are wanting to break when this is the case, right? And hunger is one of those layers that it can be challenging for us to distinguish on our own whether it is coming from a healthy place or not. Okay? So when I say hunger, what I'm referring to is, and this is what a hunger is, this is what I mean when I say a hunger. It is a need that has transitioned from being a normal, healthy need to one that has become excessive and unhealthy. Okay? And this hunger can range from high to low. Low being that it is no longer a healthy need, but it is not so obvious to those outside of you and not obvious to you either. And high being that it is so obvious to others that this is not healthy at all. Okay? How this hunger reveal itself to you is through the following ways. It's going to show up in the choices that you make. It's going to show up in what you allow in your life. It's going to show up in the words and the conversations that you have. And it also shows up in the interactions that you have with others. Okay? And I'm going to go more into details in each and every one of these, just so you can have a visual and really get how this plays a role in your everyday life. And so you could take notice to see if this is actually happening in your life, because it is important that we have this level of awareness. Without this level of awareness, it's impossible for us to to transform, our life. Now, I'm going to share, this is what I meant to say, and I went ahead of myself. I'm going to share a different part of my story just so you can get a visual again, and so you can listen to an example of how this all works and how this is all tied to other layers that we may be having that we don't even realize that is actually running the show in our life. So for the longest time, I had self-esteem and self-love issues, okay? Which I thought that by the time I would weigh 112 pounds, it would all go away, only that it didn't. And interesting enough, I at this moment do not weigh 112 pounds, and I am much more confident about myself, and I love myself in comparison to the way I was before, right? And so I share this because true confidence is not something that's going to come when something external changes. There are times that we think, well, once I lose the weight, then I'm going to love myself more. Or once I lose the weight, then I'm going to be more confident. Or once I look a certain way, or once I dress a certain way, or et cetera, et cetera. Always we put it conditional. And the thing is, that's not how true confidence works. True confidence is actually an inner game. It is not an outer game. You want to have true confidence, do the inner work necessary. Do the inner work necessary. That's where the true transformation and you feeling secure by yourself is going to come, okay? So what led me to this lack of confidence in myself, it actually originated from a cultural and societal conditioning. It was both, okay? Because it was society that impacted the way the culture started viewing certain things. So as a Dominican American, I was born and raised in the United States, but my parents are from Dominican Republic. I am what is considered an Afro-Latina. An Afro-Latina women or an Afro-Latino man, basically what it means is a Latin person that has African or Black roots. That's what it basically means. And in the Dominican culture, just like in many other countries in Latin America, we grew up thinking, and we were brainwashed into thinking that people with hair like mine, my hair is very curly, that we have bad hair. Now, can you imagine the impact that such a belief, that such a thought, that such a conditioning has on any girl, on any girl. Now, this has to do with the white brainwashing, that if you look kind of white, that anything that comes from white is better and superior. That's where all that comes from. I'm not going to get into that kind of detail, but you could just imagine how harmful that is to one's self-esteem. Well, this led to me hating a part of me so much to the point that I wanted to hide it from other people. Can you believe that? Can you believe that? And let me just say this, any part of you that you hide from others, by default, you hide it from yourself as well. And when you hide any part of yourself from your own self, inevitably, you cannot see yourself clearly. And in that situation, it's impossible to love yourself deeply, right? Because you are not seeing all of you clearly. You get the impact of that? And when this is the case, this is an indicator that you're seeing yourself through someone else's lens, as opposed to the lens of your inner being and the lens of the universe, which sees the beauty in you, which sees how talented you are, which sees how awesome you are. And I want to say the following, okay? And I want you to really listen to what I'm about to say. And I'm going to say this with so much love. Don't you dare see yourself through the lens of anybody else's. Don't you dare. And I'm going to tell you why. Because other people's lenses can be very faulty. Oh yeah, I dare to say it. Unless someone really loves you and sees the beauty in you, then you can see through that lens. But if it's not anything that is beautiful and high vibe and really uplifting, don't you dare look at yourself and see yourself through someone else's lens, okay? If I were to see myself through the lens of other people, oh my God, you know how messed up I would be mentally and emotionally? Well, since I'm from the Bronx, then perhaps I must be ghetto, right? No, don't get it twisted. I may be from the South Bronx, but there are a lot of us that are very educated. We have very valuable skills. We are very smart. We are very talented. We speak very well, right? You'd be surprised. There's some people that they have their own prejudices, and it's like, no. That if I speak different languages, in my case, I speak almost 5, that I must be trying to be white. Oh, yes, I had someone tell me that before. I was so offended. What are you trying to tell me, that a Latina woman cannot speak 5 languages and be educated? How is it? That's offensive. You hear the offense there? So you get why it's a mistake for you to view yourself through the lens of other people. How other people view you, that's none of your business. That is absolutely none of your business. But it is your business how you view yourself. Okay? Anyways, going back to the story that I was sharing, because I hated this part of me, I didn't love myself. Let me just say this. Whenever you hate any part of you, by default, you do not love yourself. And then on top of that, all my 20s, I was looking for my other half. Do you believe that? What a horrible combination, by the way. Let me just say that. Okay? I was looking for love. And guess what I attracted? I attracted men that couldn't value me. Obviously, they didn't love me, right? But what they were doing is they were mirroring aspects of me. And I didn't realize at the time. They were mirroring to me the fact that I didn't love me. They were mirroring to me the fact that I didn't fully appreciate me. That's the beauty of relationships. That's the beauty of the people that we encounter. Now, don't get this twisted. I don't take in everything that people try to give to me. I don't take other people's problems. I don't take other people's issues. Their issues is their issues. But if you really pay close attention, certain things you will be able to tell that they're reflecting it to you. right? The things that you notice in others is because those are the characteristics and traits that are also within you. All right? So that's the beauty of relationships. They tend to mirror aspects of us, right? So because I only barely liked myself, I honestly did not love myself. That's what I attracted. That's what I attracted, okay? And I'm going to say the following, and I say it with so much love. If you do not love yourself, I mean love yourself, not like. Let me tell you this, you cannot afford to just like yourself. You got to love yourself, especially in today's world. You got to love yourself. And if you do not love yourself, you have no business looking for a mate. Oh yeah, I dare to go there. I dare to go there. And the reason why you have no business looking for a mate if you do not love yourself is because all you're going to attract and allow are people that are not good for you. You're going to be accepting breadcrumbs. All right? And a mate cannot give you the love that you are not giving to yourself. That is not their responsibility. It's not their responsibility to give you the love that you're not giving to yourself. A healthy relationship consists of two healthy people. And that means that you have to be healthy yourself. Okay? And obviously, the kind of health that I'm referring to is not the physical health. All right? It's one where you can see your wholeness and you can feel your wholeness. You're being loving towards yourself. You have high and beautiful standards for yourself. That is what I'm referring to when I say a healthy person. Because you could still be healthy physically and still not be healthy in other ways, right? So this hunger for love was not obvious to anyone else, but it was obvious to one person. And that person pointed it out to me. And thank God she did. Thank God. Let me tell you this. When you meet people, and if you have people in your life that they tell you the truth, you got to value those people. You got to value those people. Of course, you got to know how to say the truth, right? Because there's a way, there's a delivery that needs to be there. But let me tell you this, true love, when someone really loves you and really cares about you, it is not that they tell you whatever you want to hear. They'll sometimes tell you things that you do not want to hear, but that it's necessary to hear because it's what's going to transform you. It's what's going to open your eyes up. It's what's going to elevate your level of consciousness. It's what's going to allow you to see the truth in things. And when you have those kind of people in your life, you got to value them. Now, the hunger that I had back then, it wasn't a hunger that was out of control. However, it was a kind of hunger that allowed me to ignore the red flags. It made me go against my intuition. And on top of that, being Latina, and Latina, I'm also going to include the Italian culture, right? I go to Italy a lot. I feel like, I don't know, it's my second country. It's like a home to me. And I've noticed Italians are like this as well. So what I've noticed about the Latin roots culture, right? It is instilled in us in a way that after a certain age, you settle down, you have kids, you marry, right? And so can you imagine when you have people asking you, oh, so when are you going to get married? Oh, so did you find someone? Oh, so when are you having kids? If you don't realize and you're not careful, those things can condition you into thinking that perhaps there's something wrong with you because that isn't happening. FYI, there's nothing wrong with you, okay? There's absolutely nothing wrong with you. Everybody has their timeline. Do not allow anyone to pressure you into anything that you do not want or anything that just isn't happening for you yet. And so I'm not going to lie to you. On top of the lack of self-love that I had and the self-esteem issues that I had, and then I'm hungry for love, right? And then on top of that, you have all these people asking, okay, so when are you going to get married? And when are you going to have kids? That was just creating even more limiting thoughts that I had no business having, right? Making that hunger even stronger, that hunger for a mate even stronger. Not a great combination. Not a great thing. Okay? Not a great thing. So now I'm going to go into detail and discuss the ways in which hunger shows up. And I'm going to go deep into this because I want you to really see if this is going on in your life. Okay? Because if you think that none of this impacts you in terms of you living your most purposeful life, in terms of you enjoying greater levels of well-being, let me tell you something. When you have a hunger, and this is the layer that I'm talking about, because when we do not notice that we have this going on, I'm telling you, it creates havoc in our life. We make choices and decisions that we have no business making. We ignore red flags, like I just mentioned. We allow things that we have no business allowing in our life. The havoc that this creates, it's impossible for you to live your most purposeful life when you have a hunger running the show. It's just not possible. This is why this is very necessary. And if you notice that you need to do this level of inner work, that you have self-esteem issues, self-confidence issues, let me tell you this, if you have self-confidence and self-esteem issues, there's no way that creating that vision, making that come true, that it ain't gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. Because living the life that you desire requires a level of self-confidence, a level of trusting yourself, a level of deserving. And if you want to do the work that is necessary for you to be that person, schedule that clarity call with me and let's see how I'm able to help you. Going back to the topic, one of the ways that this hunger reveals itself to you that I mentioned earlier is in the choices that you make. And one of the things that falls under this category that I just mentioned now is when we ignore our intuition. The intuition at times is not a loud voice. It's a soft voice, but it is a certain voice, right? It's a voice that it sounds certain and that is guiding you. And you can sense that voice, right? That it's the voice of truth. Okay? And I'm going to say this. When you notice that you are ignoring your intuition when it comes to a particular theme in your life, that can be a sign that there's a hunger there. Say, for example, if you keep ignoring your intuition whenever it comes to love, like meeting, you meet a specific person and you get this feeling that this person isn't the right person, and you've done this over and over and over again, that can be a sign that there's a hunger there that you need to be looking into. You don't want to ignore that. You don't want to ignore that. Also, when you notice that you ignore the red flags, this is another sign that there is something overriding you from seeing what's in front of you, right? And it could be that hunger. The hunger is not letting you see the red flags, right? This is important. Also, another thing that falls under this category is when you are holding on so tightly to something that you know is not good for you. Okay? That is based on a choice you're making that may be coming from a hunger. Because, right, when we're so hungry, think about it, when we're so hungry, we'll eat anything. Even a food that is very salty tastes good for us, right? The same thing when we have an emotional and mental and spiritual need, right? It's like we hold on to it. Oh, that's a sign. that you don't want to ignore. That's a sign. So be mindful of your choices. Let your choices be an indicator of what is going on in your inner world. Your outer choices are always reflecting what is going on within you. So be aware of that. Be so aware of that. And by you being aware of it, what you're being is observant. You're being observant. Like you're observing yourself as a third person. It's important that you allow yourself that space to really be that observant of what's going on, right? The second way that the hunger reveals itself to you is by what you allow in your life. Now, so much emphasis is placed on what you attract, what you attract, what you attract. And yes, it's important what we attract, but I want you to get this. Each and every one of us, we're going to be attracting all kinds of things. I want you to remember that. We're going to be attracting all kinds of things, good and bad. Good and bad. The biggest thing that makes all the difference is what you allow in your life. What you allow is what matters most. You're going to be attracting all kinds of things. We sometimes get so attached and we start thinking, oh, if I attracted this, that means that my vibe must be funky or my energy must be funky or I must be doing something wrong. Not necessarily. Not necessarily. Everyone attracts good and bad. The biggest marker, the biggest difference is what you allow, because that's what really says something, okay? And the reason for this is because what you allow is determined on how worthy you feel, the standards that you have for yourself, the relationship that you have with yourself, any layer that you may have, right? Etc. And the way this works is this: when you don't feel worthy of yourself, you're going to be blocking your good. You're not going to be allowing your good because you feel that you deserve less than. If you don't have high standards for yourself, you're going to be allowing anything, even if that anything means it isn't good for you. When you don't have a close relationship with yourself, you're not able to distinguish if whatever choice you're making is based on a layer or if it's based on your true essence, which is your soul. Two different things. Love is a normal need, right? But when it's a hunger and you don't have this close relationship with yourself, you're not going to be able to distinguish whether it's a hunger, and so you're making a decision out of desperateness, or if it's a healthy need, just a desire for companionship. Two different things, two different vibes. Two different things, two different vibes. It's so important that you have this close relationship with yourself, because when you do not, you are not aware when you may be falling in a trap, meaning a relationship that isn't convenient for you, right? A job or career that isn't truly right for you. By the way, when I say don't let your hunger trick you into traps, traps can be so many things. A hunger could be a hunger for love, attention, acceptance, belonging, to be needed. These are all healthy needs, right? We all have those needs as human beings, because as human beings, we're social beings. As human beings, we're emotional beings, right? And so the traps that these hungers can get us into, and by the way, remember that I said that a hunger is a need that has transitioned from a healthy need into a need that is now excessive and unhealthy, okay? And so these traps that these hungers can get us into can be careers or jobs that others think highly of, but that you don't really want to do, but because you want to be accepted, but because you want to belong, and because you want attention, or perhaps because you want love, you get yourself into, right? Doing certain things, right? That you don't really want to do, but you want to get that attention. But had it not been for that attention, you wouldn't be doing those things. Or had it not been because you want to belong, you wouldn't be doing those things, right? Or had it not been because you want to be loved, you wouldn't be doing those things. Another trap may be getting yourself into a relationship that isn't fulfilling, but because of that need or hunger, better get to say, that hunger for love, right? Having a social life that doesn't fit who you are, that doesn't lift you, doesn't make you into a better person, doesn't connect you more with who you really are. These are some of the traps that we fall into, all in the name of this hunger, because I need to belong, this hunger for love, this hunger to belong, right? You want to be mindful of this. You want to be mindful of this. Okay? You never want to find yourself in this situation where you need. You never do. Never, never do. The third way that a hunger can reveal itself to you is by the words you use and the conversations you have. Okay? Whether we realize it or not, our words reflect how we think, how we feel, our beliefs, the stories we tell ourselves, right? Our programmings and conditionings. They reflect our self-esteem and our self-concept. By the way, self-esteem and self-concept are two different things, but they both go hand in hand. Both of them go hand in hand. So self-esteem is how you feel about yourself, whereas self-concept is how you think about yourself. Both of them, again, go hand in hand because one affects the other, but they're two separate things, okay? So if you notice that the words and the phrases that you say are like the following, I need, and what follows after that are phrases or words that are either victimizing or in some kind of way reflecting a belief that has been instilled within you, these can be indicators of a hunger that you may have. Again, as I was mentioning earlier, you never want to find yourself in a position when it comes to people, right? When it comes to people, relationships, you never want to find yourself where you are saying to yourself or even saying out loud, I need this person. I need this relationship. You want to find yourself in a position where you say, I would like, because these are two different vibes. These are two different vibes, and they both come from different places. The I need comes from hunger. That's actually your indicator that there's a hunger there. I would like is more like, you know what? If I have it, it's great. And if I don't, it's great as well. Because I am my sunshine, because I am my rainbow, because I am the one that adds color to my life. That's where you want to position yourself, where you are the one adding the color to your life. You are the one adding the spice to your life. The rest is like sprinkles. It's good, but even if it's not there, you're still good. Okay? You never want to place yourself in a position where you're like, I need. It's an indicator that you are hungry. That is not a good place to be. Okay, because that's when we make bad choices. That's when we accept breadcrumbs. That's when you don't want to find yourself in that position. The fourth way that a hunger can reveal itself to you, right? As I mentioned earlier, is through the way you interact with others. This is another way that our hunger can be presenting itself to you, right? And this goes more for when you're hungry for attention, hungry for belonging, hungry for acceptance. And it can also be hunger for being needed, right? The hunger of being needed. And the way this even looks like is when you give without receiving, right? And you give even though you are exhausted of giving, okay? If that's the case, there's something there to explore, okay? And let me tell you this, even though it is nice to give, right? As human beings, we're designed to give, but that is not a healthy giving. That is not a healthy giving, because that actually leads to resentment, that kind of giving, okay? And it leads you to even go the opposite, right? The opposite, all the way to the extreme, where all you want to do is receive, and you don't want to give, right? Because I've been giving a lot. And that's not healthy. You want to be careful with that. Extremes are never good. Extremes are never good. And this may even lead to you having unfulfilled expectations of others. Because I've been giving. Now I expect this person to give to me. That's not healthy. That's not healthy. And you don't want to give from a place where you don't have much to give. You want to give from the water, the overflow. Just think about it. This, right? You see how little bit I have here? If I start giving from what is left, I'm going to have none. You want to give from the overflow, because when you give from the overflow, you don't feel exhausted. You don't feel depleted, because you're not touching from your own self. You're giving from the overflow. And that's your responsibility. It is your responsibility to be filling up your cup. That's right. And it is your responsibility to ensure that that cup is filled on a daily basis. Yes, I dare to go there. It is your responsibility. It is no one else's responsibility. The first thing you should be doing every day is making sure your cup is beyond full. Because only from that place will you be able to feel good. Only from that place will giving feel good. Only from that place will you not feel resentment, because you're not feeling like anything is being taken off of you. And that's because nothing is being taken out of you. You're giving from the overflow. You always want to give from the overflow. All right? And so if you're ready to gift yourself a container where you're going to be given to, where you're going to be understood and heard and listened to, if you are ready for a transformation, you are ready to uncover what are the layers that need to be removed, that need to be exposed. If you are wanting to gain clarity as to your next steps, clarity as to your true desires, and turning those desires into a vision, you are ready to step into the version of you that your vision requires, and you are ready to transform whatever blockages you may have, whatever obstacles you may have, into staircases, steps that takes you closer to the life that you desire, then I am going to highly recommend that you schedule your clarity call with me. I am always placing those links. You can always DM me so we can schedule that call with you, for you. And in that call, we're gonna assess where you are now, where you desire to be, what is needed to close that gap, and how I am able to help you. You don't need to be stuck. You don't need to be going the roundabout. We are already in March. Soon we're gonna be in April. How much longer are you gonna wait to really transform your life in a profound way? How much longer are you going to wait to really make that life that you desire a reality? How much longer are you going to wait to become the version of you that your vision requires? Time is your most valuable asset. And you are worth investing in you. And so if you are ready to invest in yourself and you love everything I share, imagine what being in a space, in a container with me, where I help facilitate the transformation that you're seeking, will do for you. Right? And so schedule that clarity call with me if that is you. And I'm going to ask that you share this video with other people. You never know who in your space needs to listen to this message. Who in your space may be having a hunger that they don't know how, or they're not even aware that they have a hunger. So share this video with those in your social media, your friends, your family. You just never know. And it is my desire that you allow this message to really sink in, right? Because this level of awareness is what creates massive transformation in your life. It is this kind of level of awareness of yourself and of your life that really, truly changes your life. And with that said, it is my desire that you live life to the max the way you are destined to live. And until next time, bye for now.